This fast footwork drill is called foundation. The player will put the ball between his feet and will then begin to hit the ball back and forth using his instep. The player's legs should be moving not only back and forth but also up and down. Notice that a drill like this does not need a huge amount of space and can be done in a somewhat confined area. The benefit of this drill is helping the player practice controlling the ball. A player should always use as much variety as possible in ball control drills, moving forward, backwards, and sideways. This is an excellent drill for players of all ages to practice in their own backyard. Here we see another fast footwork drill called push-pull. In this drill, we pull the ball back towards us and control it with our laces. We then give the ball a light tap forward. We move forward with the ball as we control it. After moving forward, we move backward, controlling the ball the same way with our laces. Soccer enthusiasts of all ages can do this fast footwork ball control drill. Some of the most acclaimed soccer players in the world practice footwork drills for hours on end. Soccer requires players to be equally adept handling the ball with either foot. This fast footwork drill is called alternating touches. Moving forward, a player will alternate each foot as he or she taps the top of the ball. The player and the ball are constantly moving forward, and the feet are alternating in a fast manner. This is another excellent ball control drill that will benefit players in multiple skill areas. Like many of the other fast footwork drills, this drill can be made as challenging as the player wants, either going long distances or keeping it to a smaller area. This fast footwork drill is called triangle. The players are again moving forward with the ball. Notice how they're tapping the ball, a side-to-side tapping of the ball. Next, the player traps the ball with the first foot with which he tapped the ball by putting his foot on top of the ball. This drill is named triangle because the movement and trapping of the ball are in the motion of a triangle. This drill helps players learn to stop the ball suddenly and then continue moving forward. Remember that in soccer, having your opponent even slightly off balance creates an advantage for the player with the ball. This very challenging fast footwork drill is called the squirt. A player will start with one foot on top of the ball, roll it down the outside of the ball, and when it gets to the bottom, tap it to the other foot, where the player will start again with his or her foot on top of the ball. The player is moving forward. Once this is perfected, players can increase the speed at which they do this drill. Players who want to challenge themselves can race with each other or race against a clock. As with many of the fast footwork drills, these are also excellent warm-up drills for school or recreational teams. This fast footwork drill is called the rollover. Players are lined up in straight lines and will move sideways as they roll their foot over the top of the ball. The ball will also be moving sideways. This technique can actually be used to fool an opponent in a game when a player overreaches for the ball while facing the opponent. Notice how the players in this drill will work with both feet. Players who are able to have both a strong left and strong right foot will have a tremendous advantage over players who don't. Another of the many fast footwork drills is called tap, tap, stop. In this drill, the players line up behind each other, facing in one direction. The player will tap the ball from one foot to the other and then come to almost a complete stop. The foot will go on and off the ball. This is a kind of rhythm drill. Ball control and being able to come to a complete and sudden stop are excellent skills that youth soccer players should try to perfect. In this drill, the player is always moving forward until he finally stops. This drill can be lengthened or shortened depending on the skill and age of the players. Another fast footwork skill that players should try to practice is called the push-step over stop. In this drill, the player will tap the ball with the outside of his foot. Then the player will touch the top of the ball, step over the ball, and then tap it with the outside of his other foot. The drill reinforces controlling the ball and the all-important change of direction with the ball that can give the player an advantage over his opponent. Younger players should not rush through many of these skill drills. If a young player can master the skill itself, speed will come naturally over time. This excellent fast footwork drill is called inside-outside, same foot. Using both the inside and outside of each foot is a useful skill that should be practiced by players at all levels. A player will begin to tap the ball, using the outside of his foot to the other foot. He will then tap it back, using the inside of the other foot while moving forward. This is one of the more difficult fast footwork skills, but once mastered, it will greatly improve a player's skills and speed while dribbling the ball. Practicing with both feet is a must. Like many of the fast footwork skills, the inside-outside same foot drill can be done in a small confined area, or even on a driveway. This fast footwork drill is called the step over. In this drill, the ball is moving forward in front of the player. The player will step around the ball with one leg, either left or right. The benefit of going in front of the ball is shielding the ball with the leg and body. Once one foot has been planted, the other foot is brought around. Next, proceed to do the same thing the other way. This backyard ball control drill constantly comes up in game situations. This tough yet challenging fast footwork drill is called the step pass. The object of this move is to switch directions instantly to surprise your opponent. This technique involves the player moving forward with the ball and then moving his body in front of the ball, which is on his side, and then hitting the ball behind his body with his right foot. A great teaching point with this move is to have an exaggerated move just before a player hits the ball behind him. Remember that in any change of direction move, you need only an instant to throw your opponent off balance, giving you an advantage. The drag is another fast footwork drill that players of any age can do. The ball starts on the inside of one foot. A big hop and drag of the ball will bring it to the other foot. This is an excellent practice move that will help the player take on a defender. In this offensive move, called the scissors, the player should begin by using the right foot to step around the ball to the right and bend the knee. Then put the left foot next to the ball and push it with the outside of the left foot. There should be an exaggerated knee bend with the weight on the right foot. The player should do this so the defender will bite at the fake. As always, the coach should make sure both feet get equal play in this move. The next offensive move is called the double scissors. The player will step over the ball twice, starting with the right foot, then the left, and then hit the ball with the outside right. He will then do this starting with the other foot, so he ends up hitting the ball with the outside of his left foot. This is a great move if the defender doesn't go for the first fake. Sometimes a defender will be faked out in this move with a right-footed player using his left foot. Doing it this way has the element of surprise. Players should be taught to stay low. This challenging offensive move is called the scissors drag. The player starts by stepping over the ball, doing the scissors move with his right foot. He will then drag the ball with the inside of his left foot. He will continue the drill starting with the left foot and dragging the ball with his right foot. As in all these offensive moves, the player will try to perfect using both feet, going both directions, and never tipping off any particular move. Speed should not be that important when learning this move. One of the most popular offensive moves is the Matthews. To do this move, the player drags the ball with the inside of his right foot going to the left, then cuts to the right using the outside of the right foot. The player will then continue, switching feet and dragging the ball with the inside of his left foot going to the right, then cut to the left using the outside of the left foot. This is one of the most famous offensive moves in all of soccer. Coaches can have players practice in an open field or in a defined area. This offensive move is called the spin move G. The player will dribble at a defender using his laces, then stop the ball, step past the ball and shield it from the defender, then pivot with the opposite foot and control the ball going forward. This creative move can be used by very young players. Again, you can use a tree or any other prop, such as a garbage can. Here, the players are doing the move right at each other. A player will have an advantage if the defender thinks the player is going back after stopping. After he steps over the ball, the spin move will leave the defender off balance. Moves like the spin move should be practiced with both feet. This offensive move is called the Maradona. Here, the player stands on the ball and does a complete 360-degree turn. This is a very popular move. It's difficult to master, yet very effective when done correctly. It can throw the defender off balance and is a good way to shield the ball. Practicing a difficult move like this can be done alone. The player can then do this in a scrimmage or practice situation with more players involved, and finally in an actual game. Here's a very popular offensive move called the rollover pop. The drill is set up here with 3 players, but any number can participate. Each player has a ball and will dribble toward the others. When the players are about to meet, they each will move the foot with which they're controlling the ball and roll it over the ball. This move strives to gain a step on one's opponent. The distance in this drill can be varied depending on the age and ability of the players. This drill is also a good conditioning drill. This offensive move is called 3-goal. 3 cones are set up only a few feet apart. As a player is dribbling the ball, he must try to put a move on the defensive player and shoot the ball between 2 of the cones. Then the players switch, and the defensive player becomes the offensive player and must try to score. The cones can be adjusted depending on the age of the players. This offensive move is called the crater. Numerous cones are set up within a box grid. The object of this is to dribble the ball without touching the cones. There can be 2 or more players inside the grid. The challenge is to be aware not only of the placement of the cones, but also of the other player or players within the grid. Another way to use your driveway is to do an offensive drill around some cones, such as this driveway dribble. The texture of the driveway surface will mean less resistance to the ball as the player is dribbling, and the player will have to work harder to control the ball. Different surfaces can actually help in ball handling skills for youth soccer players. Players can go up and down their own driveway, as well as going all around their own backyard. Shooting drills are among the most popular for youth players, whether they're practicing as a team, by themselves, or with friends. In shooting drills, the ball can be stationary, can be moving away from the player, or can be moving toward the player. This shooting drill is called straight shooting. The players line up and approach the stationary ball, move the ball forward between 2 cones, and try to hit their target, in this case a blue tarp, with the ball. After shooting, they retrieve their soccer balls and dribble back, approach the tarp, and shoot again. In this dribble and shoot drill, we begin to combine some of the skills that have been learned or were practiced. Any number of cones can be set up. The player will dribble in and out of the cones with the ball, and then set up and shoot. While dribbling, players should concentrate on different skills, such as using both feet, or using the inside or outside of the same foot. When shooting a soccer ball, the player should try to hit the ball with the laces of his shoe. Players can have different challenges for themselves or with each other, such as seeing how many they can get in a row, or increasing the shooting distance every time a shot successfully hits their target. This very popular shooting drill is called the volley shot. There must be at least 2 people in this drill. One player feeds the shooter the ball. In this case, Coach Lou will flip the ball up in the air, and in one motion, the player will shoot the ball into the tarp. The player must shoot the ball before it reaches the ground. The player will then retrieve his or her own ball. This drill works very well with a group of players or with one shooter and one feeder using many soccer balls. The half volley shot drill is similar to the volley shot drill. In this drill, a passer will pass the ball to the shooter. The shooter will let the ball bounce once on the ground, then shoot the ball into the target, which in this case is the blue tarp. This shooting drill gives the player a different technique to shoot. Many times in a game, when a ball in the air is approaching a player, he has to decide the best way to pass or shoot the ball, depending on his physical position. He might trap the ball and then shoot or pass, or he may hit the ball in the air on 1 or 2 bounces. The volley and half-volley shooting drills will improve the player's skill with these types of shots. This very popular shooting drill is called the rapid-fire drill. A line of soccer balls is placed at a predetermined distance from the target. When the drill starts, the player will approach the first ball and try to hit it into the target. The player is shooting a stationary ball. In this drill, the player is getting multiple turns, depending on the number of soccer balls available. Depending on the age and ability of the player, the soccer balls can be moved away from the target. A variation of the rapid-fire drill is called rapid random. In this shooting drill, we place multiple soccer balls in varied locations in front of the target. The player takes a shot, jogs away from the balls, then approaches the next ball. The player continues to do this until all balls have been shot. A youth player can practice this as much as he or she wants. In a backyard, as well as on a field with a full team, shooting drills are the most popular for young soccer players. Even in an urban environment, a drill like this can be done against a wall.
Red light, green light, 1, 2, 3.
Playing a kid's game with a soccer theme is a great way to have fun and also work on soccer skills. The old game, red light, green light, 1, 2, 3, can be made into a soccer activity, and the kids love it. This is played the regular way, except the kids approaching the caller have to dribble a soccer ball and must be completely stopped when the caller finishes speaking and turns around. Anyone who's seen moving has to start from the beginning. The first person to tag the caller wins. You can put in a variation, such as when the kids stop, they have to trap the ball with their left knee. This is also a great way to start the season with a young team, playing something the kids are all familiar with. Another fun game is called Knock 'em Out. Played in a confined area like a circle or square, the object of the game is to knock the other player's ball out of the circle while still maintaining control and possession of your ball. Ball control, shielding, and dribbling with your head up are some of the skills that are reinforced in this game that can be played with a few or with many players. Another fun type game that kids love playing either in their backyard or on a field with their team is called Buffalo Stampede. In a confined area, all the players without balls will be scattered about. One player is controlling a ball within the area. The player with the ball will try to hit the other players. This is similar to dodgeball, except that when a player gets hit with a ball, he gets his own soccer ball, and he becomes an additional person who is also it. In fun games like Buffalo Stampede and Knock 'em Out, players are able to practice many of their fast footwork skills, and in fact will be doing some just out of instinct. This fun game is called Split the Middle. Combining fun and skill and played with two players with two cones, this simple drill is a great challenge drill or warm-up drill. The players stand opposite each other and have to pass the ball to each other without knocking down the cones. After every pass, or every 2 or 3 passes, the players must move back 1 or 2 steps. This is a two-touch drill. The player can only trap the ball and then quickly return the pass. It cannot reset the placement of the ball. Once the cone is knocked down, the players can restart the game. The distance between the cones can be adjusted, depending on the age and ability of the players. A variation of the game, Split the Middle, is a game called Between the Legs. This is basically the same game, except that the ball must go between a player's legs without touching them. Younger players love these games involving adults used as props. Using your own backyard for soccer drills can be fun and challenging. Here's a little challenge to anyone who's a goalie or just wants to have a little fun. Taking the space between 2 trees, how about a goalie kick? The kick must go between 2 tree trunks cleanly, a tough yet doable task. Youth soccer players gravitate toward games and challenges like this, and here an important soccer skill is being practiced. Another fun game done within the confines of your own backyard is Follow the Leader. In this game, the player with the ball must follow behind the person in front and go wherever he or she goes. The player with the ball can do any number of fast footwork skills. One of the skills being worked on is keeping your head up as a player is dribbling the soccer ball. When the player with the ball tags the player in front, they switch roles. The mirror game is played with 2 players and 2 cones. If cones aren't available, baseball caps or anything else can be used. The cones are placed about 10 to 15 feet apart. 2 players are opposite each other between the cones, and 1 player has a ball. Starting in the middle, the player with the ball must beat the other player to get to one of the cones. There can be faking to get a player off balance. Notice the player doing the rollover, which is one of the skills practiced. If there's a significant difference in the age or ability of the players, a second set of cones can be set up, and the better or older player must reach the outside cone. Another fun game kids love to play is one that many are familiar with. Steal the Bacon can be played with a soccer theme to it. The players are separated, and the caller will roll the ball between two of them and call out a number. The players with that number have to run to the ball and dribble it back past the spot they started from to win. When there are two players of near equal ability, this can get very physical, and shielding becomes very important. In the middle is a great passing game that is challenging for all participants. Have two players between two cones, a short distance apart from each other, with a third player in the middle. The two players have to keep passing to each other while the player in the middle tries to steal a pass. When the player in the middle steals the ball, the person who passed it then has to go in the middle and try to steal the ball. This fun game gets players experienced in anticipating passes and where the ball is going. How about using a backyard deck with a soccer skill? Here, someone is on the deck and tosses the ball down to the player. The player has to trap the ball. He can trap the ball with his foot, his thigh, or his chest. Tossing the ball from a higher location will make the angle and height of the soccer ball slightly different than if another player just tossed it to him from the ground. The creativity of doing backyard drills depends on what is around one's house. If the area is full of trees, different dribbling skills can be tried. When there's a deck available and it's safe, different creative skills can be done. Soccer bowling is a very good game that is a fun backyard drill, as well as a break from a team soccer practice. Soccer balls are placed on small cones to simulate the way bowling pins are set up at a bowling alley. A player then kicks the ball and tries to knock down as many as he or she can. One person will clear out the soccer balls that are knocked down. Players can keep track of their own score. The distance should be adjusted depending upon age and ability. In this drill, one player has the ball and one doesn't. The player with the ball has to beat the other player to either cone. The player does this by starting, stopping, or switching directions. The play starts once the ball is kicked. This is an excellent ball handling game that works on numerous skills, including making sudden stops. These players are practicing some of the fast footwork skills already tried before. Players can combine the shake and bake game with some shooting. Just as in the previous drill, the player with the ball tries to lose the defender, then shoots the ball. The player with the ball will do all sorts of fakes, sudden stops, and fast footwork to seek an opening for a clean shot. A challenge in this drill is to move the players back after every turn. An excellent challenging game is 1 versus 2. In this 3-player drill, one player is on offense, and the other 2 players are on defense. This is played inside a grid marked by 4 cones or by any other available items. The object is to see how long a player can control the ball. Playing against 2 defenders is tough, and this is also a terrific conditioning game. In this drill, the players are doing their best using shielding and fast footwork techniques to control the ball. Let's say a brother is playing his younger 2 sisters, or a sister and her friend. A real game can be set up with the older brother having a handicap. Here we see the goals are different sizes. As in many drills, if one player is older or much more skilled, the drill should be adjusted so that the sides are more equal. Having goals of different sizes is one way. You could also make a rule that the older player can dribble only with his opposite leg, or can shoot only from a predetermined distance from the goal. A game like this with only a few players can be played in a confined, safe area. Practicing heading techniques and drills is an extremely important yet overlooked part of soccer. Heading is such a huge part of soccer that some teams practice heading drills more than they do shooting drills. Heading, like dribbling, shooting, and trapping, is a learned skill, and with practice, players can significantly improve their ability to head the ball. In this triangle heading drill, the player is getting many repetitions. Players can even practice heading on their own against a wall. In this heading drill, the players are being tossed a ball right in front of the target. Their objective is to head the ball correctly right into the tarp. In a backyard drill like this, having a big target is a good idea. With a larger target, there are more successes, which is great positive reinforcement, especially for the younger players. If your own backyard does not have room for a tarp, be creative and head into a tree, a pole, or anywhere that is safe yet effective. The heading game combines the skill of heading and a competitive game as the players try to head the ball into an exact area. 4 cones are set up, with each player standing between two of them. The distance between the cones can be adjusted as desired. The coach or parent will be between the players on the side. He will toss the ball up as one player approaches it and tries to head it past the other player, who acts as a goalie. The roles then reverse. Players can keep score in this game.
Offense.
Another heading drill using a deck is a game called offense-defense. There's someone on the deck and one player below it, ready for the ball to be thrown down. If there are enough players, two others are placed, one to the left and one to the right, in front of the player on the ground. In addition to being a great heading drill, this is a great reaction drill, as the player has to make a quick decision. The ball is thrown from the deck. While it's in the air, the person on the deck will either yell offense or defense. If offense is called, the player must head the ball to one of the players on each side of him. If defense is called, the player must head the ball to the person on the deck who tossed it down. In this terrific passing drill, 3 cones are set up a few feet apart from each other in the form of a triangle. The players are rotating counterclockwise but can move in either direction. The players will pass the ball between every 2 cones. A player must control the ball and then pass it to another player. This is a multi-purpose drill, emphasizing passing, ball control, and also conditioning. Depending on the player's age and ability, you can increase or decrease the space between the cones in the triangles, and you can change the directions in which the players are moving. This drill is useful for almost any age. In this passing drill, 3 players in a backyard form a triangle. One player passes to another, who receives the ball and passes it back. The player will move away from and then move toward the ball. The idea is to get the ball moving. In a drill like this, we use what is called a check. A check occurs when a player tries to shake off a defender or move in one direction, then quickly changes directions. The ball is received with the inside of the left foot and played back with the inside of the right, and vice versa. Notice that the players are working both feet throughout the drill. This passing drill is called 4-corner passing. Passing skills should be practiced at both long and short distances. 4 cones are set up about 5 to 7 yards apart. 2 players will pass to each other, and the third player must follow the ball by running to the other cone. Once he receives a pass, he will pass the ball to either one of the other 2 players. The third player is always running without the ball, but ready to receive a pass. The benefit of this drill is to work on passing and receiving skills, as well as learning to anticipate. This drill also helps with conditioning. Various areas around the house can create many new drills. Here we see a short wall along the driveway, and players are practicing hitting the ball against the wall continuously. This particular drill will give players doing this drill alone many repetitions. Doing this drill on a hard surface will give the player a different movement with the ball, as opposed to playing on a grass field or in a backyard. Trapping is a huge part of soccer, and trapping the ball with different parts of the body is necessary to be a well-rounded soccer player. This drill is set up just like the triangle passing drill. After the player checks or loses his man, he will trap the ball against his chest, and before it hits the ground, kick it to the other player, who will continue the drill the same way. The drill continues, then the players will rotate, and the next person will be the one who traps the ball. Here's a great skill drill that involves 3 players and 2 soccer balls. Set up in a triangle similar to the triangle passing and trapping drill, the player must now hit the ball back with his foot to where it was just passed from. As before, the player will do a check between each ball he has to kick back. This is really a dual-purpose drill, as conditioning becomes a factor for the player who is kicking the ball back. In this drill, the distance between the players can be expanded depending on age and/or ability. A great challenge is to see how many volleys can be done in a row without the ball hitting the ground. Then every player moves back 1 step and the drill continues. Another creative drill around the home is to take the space under a deck and visualize this as a goal area. In this drill, we are working on a goalie's agility. Using this imaginary goal, we can run a drill to improve goalie skills. Like many of the other backyard drills in this video, this can be done in a confined area, and a soccer field is not required. These agility drills are very effective for goalies. Backyard soccer drills challenge parents and players to be as creative as they can be. Here we see a player challenging himself to head the ball into the basketball rim in his front driveway. The player's having fun as well as practicing his heading techniques.